It's weird. I had one of the most spectacular days yesterday that I've had in quite some time, and it's kind of a run of spectacular days. And as I found myself doing my post-party rundown before I ended my day, I noticed that it was September 11th. And right away, I was struck by this enormous feeling of conflict. Like, I knew that I was going to see a bunch of never forget slogans posted all over the place with flags and patriotic symbols and I was caught between bemusement and horror, because I realized that never forget, to me, is the biggest amorphous pile of shit that I can imagine. I mean, what are we supposed to never forget? Are we supposed to never forget that 11 years ago, the concept that a handful of men or individuals could cow droves of people into laying down their lives for nothing and becoming passive accomplices to what stands as the biggest act of mass suicide, homicide in our history? I mean, even if you're one of the conspiracy theorists, and I'm not invalidating that it was an inside job, but even if you're one of those people, still, the aftermath in which terror united us where love could not. And we use that togetherness for mostly destructive purposes instead of creative purposes, where we have two wars, one of which makes no sense, and the Iraq War out of this, where the destruction of foreign lives outstripes that day on a measure of 10-1 at the minimum. Are we supposed to never forget that we had an opportunity to rise to the occasion and we instead wallowed in the muck so horribly that it created the pathway for the hugest deficit the world has ever seen? And that we somehow were able to foist that off on somebody else because they were honest enough to put it on the books? To me, the thing to never forget is that every day we have an opportunity to put that firmly in our rearview mirror and take back our sense of personal value, our sense of individual responsibility, and our sense of, I hate to say pride, but I think pride is an apt term, because it is pride that has become the cardinal sin in this society since 9/11. That we can vilify people who exercise a tremendous feat of will to gain a prominence through their efforts to encapsulate and embody the human experience in a way that inspired, again, countless droves of people. And because these people have the audacity to feel themselves too much, they became almost pariahs. That enthusiasm is now a cause for concern, to the point where a guy like Tom Cruise, who's made billions of dollars for the powers that be, can almost be defeated by one heedless display of enthusiasm on a couch because he was excited about a chick. That Kanye could be defeated almost by stopping to say what anybody with guts should say. Like, the VMAs are not the Teen Choice Awards. Maybe you guys need to make better decisions. Bush doesn't give a fuck about black people or poor people or anybody that isn't him or his fucking constituents. It's true. Kanye never said shit that wasn't true. His biggest crime was feeling himself too much. Charlie Sheen, 95% of his fucking cases were pending before he signed the $2 million contract. But the act of signing that $2 million contract was, in the opinion of most people, a declaration of war. Because what was he getting paid $2 million for but to play himself, in people's opinion? And so that was a crime worthy of trying to destroy not only that man, but everybody who depended upon him to show up and make that show go. The brilliance is that none of those dudes were defeated by this lame display of contempt for anyone who has a gall to transcend all the negativity that they had to face, that the average person can't even conceive, to get to a point where they have this prominence and then congratulate themselves for it. But none of them were defeated. So I never forget those cats. I never forget the cats who supposedly stood up and made the attempt to foil the efforts of this handful of people to the effect of being the one plane that didn't make target. I never forget that a sense of personal value is a hard-fought thing that should never be given up, that should never be turned over lightly, and that we have the opportunity every day to reunite and to do so for creation instead of destruction. That is what I will never forget, and urge you to join me in never forgetting. Pre out.